All right, lights are coming on. Okay, so what do you think? What do we think? What do we think about the video? What do we think about the lyrics? What do we think about the presentation? Rape culture, Queen Latifah.
This class is entitled Women in Violence. Barb Gurr is teaching it. I'm taking it as elective for my major, and it's about the systemic, institutional, and gendered violence that happens against women in America, and as well as other subordinated identities. And it's a really good class, and everyone should take it.
Hi, my name is Barbara Gurr, and I am an assistant professor in the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies program at the University of Connecticut. I'm currently teaching a winter session course on the Hartford campus called Women and Violence. It's a course I've taught many, many times. This is probably my 16th or 17th time teaching the class. And I dread it a little bit every time I teach the class because I teach a lot of different classes for the Women's Studies program. This may be both my least and most favorite class to teach because it's very emotionally challenging to tackle some of the topics that we tackle in class. It's very intimate to teach in a winter session class because you usually only have 10 to 12 students.
For me, I'm in this class because I pretty much learned that being a feminist is just believing in gender equality, and I think that that's really important. And Women in Violence is a really great example of how gender equality has not been achieved.
We really get into not only policy and statistics, but personal stories from our authors and from films and things like that. So I do a lot of sort of emotional prep work before I come into the class and work to make sure that my students feel safe.
Okay, let's pause for a moment. What do you think? Give me some sort of formal feminist response to this. A liberal feminist response, a radical feminist response, a cultural feminist response to this idea of women responding to violence with violence.
People aren't just one thing, you know. You're not just a woman, you're not just a man, you're not just black, you're not just white, you're not just gay, you're not just straight. You know, people have a combination of different things, and those things interact to make your life different. And unfortunately, in a systemic, planned, very organized way.
It's made me more aware, and it's definitely made me more empathetic. I think that being inspired, though, like Austin said, it's just so hard because you just don't know where to start or what you could even do.
As we move through the 3 weeks, I find inevitably every year that students start to feel a little overwhelmed, right? Because the stories are very emotional stories, the information can be very overwhelming and pessimistic information, and so we close the semester by thinking about things that we can do that are anti-violence, actions we can take, and also looking at different organizations that are seeking to address either interpersonal violence or structural violence, particularly through a gendered lens. So I'll just say, I actually really love teaching the winter session class. I love the intimacy, I love the constancy of it. I love that you almost can't get away from it, and so you're really thinking about it a lot. I find it a very powerful way to learn, a very powerful way to develop relationships with my students. So I always really enjoy the winter session.